of these woodhaven roots. Let's save these actually. I've got quite a big chunk of root out, but the runners have firmed their feet into the soil and it's making it quite hard to pull the rest of it up. I've only got one glove. Can you see how these cherry trees grow on this sort of runner? Two trees popped up on the same root. That's why you have to get all of it out. Oh, come on, yes! The smell of wild garlic down here is incredible. These are all of the little bulbs, and this patch here is absolutely full in March and April, and I can't wait for the season to come around because it's really something special down here. And I think it actually loves the shade from this big pear tree, but unfortunately I think this has got to go this year because it is just taken out so much light from a lot of my plot, and mainly my greenhouse just behind me. The past couple of growing seasons, try as I might, I've not been able to grow very much in there at all, just because it's just not getting the light that it needs. Not only is it blocking out light, but it's also bellowing over at an angle, and when it snows it gets quite heavy on top of the canopy, and I'm really worried that it's going to come down and cause some damage to that greenhouse. So this year it is unfortunately mostly going to come down. I think I'm going to leave a lot of the structure and use it to put bird boxes and stuff up, but most of these big branches that are coming over are going to have to go, unfortunately. You can see that one there is actually almost reaching the floor. But I'm so glad that this cherry tree in front of me is just gone. It's been there for a couple of years now, and I've been waiting for a really heavy rain just to loosen the soil up to make it a little bit easier to get out, and actually it wasn't too hard at all. I should have probably done it sooner, but I'm really glad that that's opened up this little corner space now, and I'm going to plant lots of spring bulbs in there. I think some daffodils and maybe some tulips as well. There are so many midges around here and getting eaten alive. So apart from this big pear tree, I'm also going to top that ash at the back because that again is blocking out a lot of light and it doesn't look too healthy. But other than that, I think the hedges just need a good prune and things just need tidying up and cutting back a bit because this year I haven't been on top of it. I've had lots and lots of projects going on that has meant that my time at the allotment hasn't been... God, there's too many midges around here. I'm going to have to move. Walk and talk, walk and talk. I think if I walk around then the midges won't keep biting my head. It's really itchy. But as I was saying, I haven't managed to be at the plot too much, so everything is looking a little bit wild. I have managed to cut back quite a bit today though. I wasn't actually planning on filming my plot tour today, but I just looked at the weather as I was about to leave, and the next maybe 10 days or so looks absolutely awful. So I thought, as it's a beautiful day, I can take you on a little walk around and show you what's changed since last month. And actually the plot is looking very different to September, despite not being here for a couple of weeks. I was away from the 1st to the 17th of October, so almost 3 weeks, about 2.5 weeks. And when I got back, it was looking a little bit scruffy, but the past couple of days I've managed to have a little bit of a clean up and things have been cut back and it's looking a little bit nicer. This is the front of my plot, and this little patch here is where the cherry tree stump was, and now they're all removed and I've got a nice big patch, and this is where I'm going to have some spring bulbs, so a little patch around here, maybe some peonies, some daffodils and some tulips as well, if the squirrels don't eat the tulips by spring. And this is my little pond area and my greenhouse here, and you can see, hang on, let me put you on wide angle. So you can see how this big old pear tree is really blocking out all of the light to that greenhouse there. So that is the one that's going to go. Lots of geraniums and different grasses, but this is going to be full of wild garlic soon, and some spring bulbs too once I plant them. So the first thing I actually want to show you is down here in this little wood chip pile. Hang on. So I was just about to dig this up and spread it on some of my beds, and then I realised, look at all of that mycelium. holding together all of that wood chip, and that is from an old mushroom bag that I chucked down here, and I buried it in this little pile. I'm hoping that it'd take hold, and it has. So I'm super stoked with that, and I think what I'm going to do is dig up a lot of this wood chip and pop it in that blue tub and put it in my polytunnel and just keep it nice and moist. It's a little bit warmer in there, a little bit more humid, and it'll protect it from the frost. So I'm really stoked on that. I'm hoping to get a nice crop of oyster mushrooms pretty soon. Over here I've brought down all of the bean plants, pulled up all of the potatoes and mulched these beds with just some rotten organic matter. Lots of, well actually it was from that big pile, I don't know if you remember, there was a huge pile of stuff that I'd left there from a big clipping that I did months and months ago, and I just never managed to get it over there into my compost. So I just dug it all up and spread it across these 3 beds. So that will all rot down over the winter, and then I'll rake up anything that hasn't rotted down and add that to my compost bin. And then yeah, it's just a really easy method of mulching and feeding your beds over winter. And then this one along here, you can see it's a lot darker, and that's because I've just emptied out loads of old pots. All of these cosmos are pretty droopy now. I'm probably going to cut these back, but there are a few little flowers and I've seen the bees buzzing around, so I've just left them for the time being. And then can you see this little white mass underneath my spruce tree? So this is spruce resin, and it looks like there's some fresh resin that's bled out of this tree. So I might harvest some of this and make some incense or some firelighters. But it's really nice to make incense with this because it smells absolutely gorgeous. My shed, my greenhouse. Actually, let's go in here because I want to show you something. Look at the state of it. Something big has been in here. Oh my god, it's absolutely just caused a chaos. This is where I keep my bird food, inside this, what I thought was super safe. It's like a big metal cabinet, and it's really heavy, and it's got drawers on it, and somehow they managed to knock it over, whatever it was. I'm thinking maybe a badger, because I don't even think a fox would be able to do that, man. It's like really heavy. But anyway, they've knocked it down, eaten all of the mealworms, all of the suet pellets, all of the seeds. That's the bag on the floor. So yeah, I don't know what's been in here, but I should maybe start shutting that door because it has got a lock. I've just been lazy, but they've absolutely trashed it in here. All of the things have been pulled down from the shelves. Yeah, there's not too much going on in here. I still haven't pulled up all of the tomatoes from this greenhouse. But yeah, it's a bit messy. It's a bit of a storage room at the moment. Nice evening, but the sun is going to go down very, very soon. It is about 4:45 now, right at the end of October. I think it's about the 27th today, or 26th. But yeah, it's an absolutely stunning evening. I'm just hoping I can get around the plot before the sun does go down. So let's get a little bit of a move on. So through here, all of the kind of squash plants that was growing up here have died back now, and I've spread out that compost around that bed over there. The polytunnel has got nothing in it now. Well, I've just moved my little shelving unit in here, and this is a little basket of food that I harvested the other day. I'll link my little food harvest video above if you want to see what I harvested. My final big, well, it wasn't actually that big, but it was the biggest harvest I'm going to get from the rest of the year because all the beds are going to sleep now. But yeah, I'll link that above if you want to watch. But I've got a new shelving unit in here. I say new, I've had it for ages now. Fred gave it to me a while ago, and it's got a cool little table that attaches to the top that I need to set up. That's how the front of the second plot is looking. Pretty bare really. Everything's going to sleep now, and I do usually grow lots of things over winter, but this winter I'm going to be really busy with some little projects that I've got going on, so I'm just going to give myself a bit of an easy few months, put the plot to bed, then I haven't got to worry about doing lots of extra jobs down here. But yeah, it's looking alright. These beds are, well, they're kind of kind of just weedy at the moment. There is some kale and some cauliflowers, little young seedlings grown in there, but you can't really see them amongst all the weeds. And there's some turnips and more cauliflowers and bits in this bed. Again, it needs a good old weed. But back here, the star of the show at the moment are the raspberries, the autumn raspberries. I have been harvesting hundreds of them, and I'm getting like a punnet every single day. There's just so many, and I hope that they will ripen before the frosts hit. We have had a couple of frosts down here already, but they haven't seemed to have been affected yet. But yeah, I've got absolutely hundreds of them still going, still about to ripen. I'm absolutely loving the autumn raspberries at the minute. They've been so much better than the summer one. So over here is where I've been doing most of my work over the past couple of days and getting lots and lots of things chopped back. So, I don't know if you can really see, but the fireweed is at a much more suitable level now. It was absolutely bellowing over and blowing seeds everywhere, and that wasn't very good. So I've cut all that back now, and it's looking much better. And this bed down here as well, hang on, let me spin you. Down here as well is where all my cosmos was, and that's all being chopped back now. I have left a few little stray straw flowers standing because they look like they're going to open up, and if they do, then that's 10 more Christmas decorations on my tree. So I'm just going to leave these ones and just see if they do open up. But yeah, this bed is almost put to sleep. There's lots of achillea and chamomile and stuff that will spring back to life early next spring, and I'll just tuck it all up for now. But the fire pit over there is just my table at the moment, and I've cut back all of this berberis. So this got a really good trim last year, and this spring, or this summer actually, it just went wild. It started chucking out lots and lots of new growth. So I've just tidied it back up again now. Robins don't seem best pleased because that's their little hangout spot, but there's still plenty of foliage in there for them to hide out in. But yeah, this is where the little bathtub and fireweed is, and if you remember, this fireweed was about 8 foot tall, and now it's about 4. I've cut it back about half its size, and it still provides me with a little bit of privacy, a little bit of screening when I'm in my bathtub. Not that I've used it in ages, but when I do, people won't be able to see in from that side. And this is where all of the raspberries are. So as I say, there's just been hundreds of them, and if I lift up this, you'll see them all growing, all dangling. There's just so many of them everywhere. Really great year for them. And you can actually, hang on, let me put you on wide angle again. So you can actually see through to the back of my plot now. I've cut down lots of hogweed and lots of bramble, and created a little path that goes through here. And I've got my apple trees and various fruit trees hiding back here amongst all of the foliage and all of the currant bushes. But yeah, it's looking much neater, and you can actually get to my compost bin. You can actually see it now, and you can see the individual trees sort of. And it's going to be really full soon once I've raked up all of this foliage all over the floor. I cut all this down just earlier on today. You can see all of the foliage still on the floor, and I haven't raked that up just yet, but that will fill up my compost bay at the back there. And this was as tall as me, with brambles and then weeds kind of growing through all of the brambles, and it was just massive. And I've cut it all back, and it looks so much neater, and there's still a little patch there next to my currants that I haven't sorted, because it's a little bit tricky to cut down the weeds in between the currant plants and the raspberries. I don't want to cut too much of those back, so I've left a little patch here. But other than that, this little area is all cut back and tidy. And through here, hang on, let me take you through. Hello, mister. Hello. My mealworms are on the table, you can help yourself today. And down here, can you see? Can you see that's a pond? That's a pond. You see, if I go closer, you'll see all the duckweed and stuff growing, and this really needs sorting, and I'm still undecided whether I'm going to have a swamp area or another pond, because it is a really, really nice pond back here, but I also think it'd be pretty cool to have some bog plants growing. I'll have to have a proper little think and research what I can grow. But yeah, here is my wood pile, and you can't really see anything because of all of the stuff that I've cut down over the top of it. But I don't even know if I can get back around here, so I might have to go back this way. Hello. So you can see my bath's still pretty hidden. It's only when you come up really high that you can see it. So yeah, this little spot back here has had a good old tidy up, and I'm pretty stoked about that because it was looking really, really messy and quite unmanageable, but it didn't actually take that long. So maybe we'll come through this little walkway here instead because it's a little bit easier to get through. It looks like all of my primrose starting to flower now. They look pretty scruffy, but they're all starting to come back. I might deadhead these now, let them come back a bit nicer. I think they're trying to grow through that bramble and they just got a little bit ripped. But yeah, I've got raspberries growing either side of this little pathway, and this pathway is inoculated with wine cap mushrooms. You can see all of the mycelium down here that I need to give another good layer of wood chip because it's eating through that stuff. And that's my pond from this side, just in there, and that little area that's been cut down. It doesn't look too much different from here, but I've really opened it up again now. All of this pile of ash that needs chopping up. I might ask Wenner to do that when he comes and does my pear tree for me. I might go to work with him for a day and swap him for a day's work. So this is the view from the back of the plot. Big old bay tree. I think I'm going to reduce that bay as well, make it a bay bush, because last year I actually brought the canopy up. I was going to make it a bay tree, but it wasn't a very good idea because it blocks out that little tiny patch of light that I get of an evening time. So if I make it a bay bush, then I still get the bay leaves from it and I still get the crop, but I also get a bit more light into this part of the plot as well. Oh, I planted a jasmine that looks like it's growing quite nicely already. My idea is for that jasmine to climb up and over this kind of wire mesh back to my skate ramp. So my skate ramp's just behind there, and there's this wire that kind of covers around the back. It's quite ugly, so I'm hoping that jasmine kind of covers that in a year's time. So that looks very pretty. All of the lemon balm over there, it's gone wild. I think I'm going to plant up this little patch here with some more daffodils and stuff once I sort that pond out. But yeah, which way should we go? Let's go down here. Ow! Ow! How did that... Oh, because it's a big old echinopsis. Look at those spikes. Went straight through a layer of tights and 2 layers of leggings. This is the little pathway that leads into my first plot, my first love. And this is the allotment that I've had since the summer of 2017. This skate ramp hasn't been here that whole time. Look, my fence has fallen down. I noticed when I came back from the retreats and I tried to prop it up, and then it fell back down and brought the other 2 panels with it. So I just left it, and I'm going to get Chris to come down and just do it for me because, yeah, it's quite heavy. And the panels are quite big and cumbersome. So my hawthorn tree up here has been pretty much stripped of berries by the pigeons and the birds. It's nice to be able to give them some free food that I don't mind them eating. It saves them eating my cauliflowers and my squash. The skate ramp is, well, this is going to have a complete relayer next spring. and I probably won't get too many uses out of it till then, because the wood tends to get quite soggy, and it needs a good day of sun to dry out, and you just don't really get that kind of like heat in the winter months, so it never really fully dries out. So I'm probably going to have to put this ramp to bed as well, and it'll get a complete new resurface in spring, probably around March time, or maybe late February if we haven't got too much snow. But yeah, this little kitchen area here, nothing's changed in here. I do love it though. So I think I'm going to create some windows out of clear plastic and a solid back for this little kitchen, because the rain does get in, and it will just last a lot longer if I protect it a little bit more. But this honeysuckle's gone mad. Look at it. I need to retrain it around here, but it's gone absolutely crazy now. I could probably start attaching it to that fence and trailing it along the fence, and then at least it'll provide a bit more structural support to this shed, because I built this shed and I don't really trust that it's going to stay up for too many years. How long ago did I do it now? Maybe it's been in maybe about 2 years now, and it's just made out of cherry tree trunks that I just sunk into the floor. Not even very deep, probably about a foot deep, and I didn't put any concrete or anything in like that. They're just literally pressed in, but it seems quite solid and it's not fallen down. We've had a good few storms. I've just noticed my core box has been knocked over. That would have only happened from a big animal as well, so I don't know what's been creeping around my plot. And this bed behind is just a jungle of various plants, but very useful plants. There's Jack by the hedge in here, calendula, there's some hairy bittercress, some geranium, thistles, herb robert, and some pretty lupins as well. So even though this looks like a bit of a mess, there's actually lots of edible and medicinal plants in here, and a few pretty ones too. But yeah, speak of lupin, as if that's starting to come out. What are you doing, Mr. Lupin? It's too late in the season for you. Pretty colour though, look at that pink and purple. That's the colour that my eyeshadow used to be when I was about 12. Britney Spears phase. So yeah, this bed behind here, I haven't chopped it back yet because, well, the wildlife love to live in all of the flower stalks and stuff over winter. But I will give the floor a little bit of a mulch, and then I'll completely chop it back when I need to start using it in spring. Oh my god, look at all those raspberries on that cane. Can you see them? There's hundreds. I need to go and harvest those. Take some more home with me. My freezer's getting full of raspberries now. A eucalyptus. I'm so glad that I cut that back because I wasn't sure what to do with it. And I just chopped it and now it's come back really nice and bushy. My herb spiral is very herby. Lots and lots of herbs going on in there, and I've just been harvesting from this all season. It's an absolutely amazing little part of my garden, even though it looks quite messy at the minute. All of the fennel is getting massive, that needs cutting. I harvested lots of the seed from that. I love fennel seed. But yeah, it's looking straggly, but still got lots and lots of herbs in there, and it's good for the wildlife at the minute as well. I think I'm going to remove that foxglove though. That looks stunning, look at that foxglove. But that looks like it's going to be a massive one, so maybe that shouldn't be in my herb spiral. But yeah, I've got a ton of different herbs growing in here. Well, the beetroot's doing well. These are starting to fatten up nicely. I think these are the cylindra, so they're supposed to be kind of like a narrow beetroot. So these ones are actually probably ready. Should we harvest one? That looks very nice. I'll harvest that one as well. Oh, look at that. Oh, I thought it was slugs, but it's just hawthornberry. Yeah, they look alright, don't they? Can eat the tops of these as well, so I might have these in salads and then pickle these. So these are my mature ones at the front of the bed here, and then the rest of the bed is full of beetroot seedlings and some random brassicas underneath those little cloches. And lots of wormwood on the edges and some more herbs like parsley and some forget-me-nots just bordering the beds as well, because that'll look nice and pretty come spring. So yeah, these two beds have still got stuff growing in them, so I'm just leaving these ones for now. All of the kohlrabi's in here. Can you see through here? I don't know if you can. It's just starting to plump up. I don't know if they're actually going to be ready before the frosts get them, but I think they might be alright, unless we get quite a deep frost. And all of the winter radish as well, the daikon radish, that are in here. And I've also got black Spanish round, which is a winter radish as well, so they'll be ready maybe in about a month's time. So I've got two big squash here. Can't remember the variety of these, but I'm just going to leave them a little bit longer because they're fine there on the... Although that one's been nibbled. What the fuck? Something living in there already. I'm going to harvest him because actually otherwise I'm not going to get one. There's another little one down here. But yeah, this little bed here is where all of my strawberries and my squash were growing, and I've chopped all of those squash up now and just left those on top of the bed to mulch down. Can you see that, like those little lines across the bed here? That's something digging for slugs, I think, and I've got a feeling it's a badger. But luckily they're not decimating any of my beds or my actual food. They're just going through all of the wood chip and looking for worms in my greenhouse. My magpie friend's over there. He's just landed. Hello. I got my first present from a magpie last month. Swapped me for a bit of sandwich. I got a chocolate coin. I was well happy. And this area at the back here is still just a bit of a no man's land. Not much going on. There's a compost bin over there. And we're back round to the front of it. So this buddleia needs a good cut back. You can't even see inside the greenhouse. There's no light gets in there now when you've got the grapevine on top and then the buddleia on the side. So this all needs to be completely chopped back. Hang on, let me put you on wide angle. Yeah, so this all needs completely chopping back, this buddleia now. The Rebecca have all gone to seed now, and the seed heads are actually really, really pretty. I like to leave them because I just think they look awesome. And the birds love to come and eat them as well. I'll just go over to my mum's little bed. So this is my mum's border along here, and it needs a good old tidy up, and I'm hoping to do that this week because it's her birthday on the 29th, and I always like to have a little bit of mum bed maintenance and get her a couple of new plants to go in there, and that's a little birthday present from me. So yeah, it's looking kind of straggly, but there's lots growing still, and it's all mostly perennials as well, so it just gets bigger and bigger each year, and I love this little spot. So just by my mum's bed is my other pond, and it's my bathtub pond, and this again is going to have a good old clean out probably in the middle of winter because all of the foliage and stuff will die back and it's a lot easier to get to. But that's a bit of a haven for wildlife, this one. This is probably the most inhabited pond of the plot. I've got 4 ponds in total, but this is the one that they seem to love the most, and I think it's because it's so well hidden. Look, can barely even see it. But just behind the pond is, or was, my squash bed, and this is all kind of died back now. But I've got lots of calendula, and I've been harvesting a lot of calendula lately and turning that into oil to use into salves, making some salves with that. But yeah, this bed here, I think, is where I'm going to move my polytunnel from here to here, because this larch tree blocks out a lot of light for the polytunnel, and I think if I just bring it forward a little bit, I'll just have a lot more growing space. So yeah, that's another big job for for winter. I think I'm going to have to get someone to help me with that. And I think what I'm planning on doing is just unhooking it and just picking it up and moving it. I'm not going to take it apart because it's only got to move from here to here. So we might even just be able to pass it over. I don't know how it's going to work yet, but that's going to move this winter as well. What have I got in here? I've harvested most of the squash in here. It looks like some little tiny patty pans are trying to grow through, but they'll probably not get much bigger than that now. And then last little bit to show you is just through to the orchard, and nothing's changed in here. Everything is just proper starting to die back now. All of the guilds have all died back. They're mostly perennial guilds, so they'll pop back up in they'll start popping back up in spring. But yeah, even all of the fluted buds, nest fungi, is gone now, and we're just left with little tiny shells. And I've been keeping my eye out for, normally every single year I get psilocybe cyanescens popping up, wavy caps. And every year since I think 2019 I've seen them in the plot, but this year I haven't seen them. And I'm pretty sure I didn't miss them because I was away for 2 weeks, but wavy caps tend to stick around for quite a long time. And even once they get old, they don't seem to disintegrate very quickly. So I think I'd still see some remnants if they were to have grown while I was away. But yeah, I haven't seen any, and they're always such a fun one to find. They look so cute. But yeah, keep my eye out for them, but I don't know if they're going to come back this year. There's a little squirrel up there. Where are you going? Yeah, again, my little raspberry patch. These are more autumn fruiting raspberries, and there's lots to harvest in here, so I think I'm going to do that before I go home. I've just spied a little rose over here, so let's end on a pretty flower. That smells beautiful. Well, that is how the plot is looking at the end of October, and there is so much to do over winter. Now that I've finished my work here, I can really knuckle down and spend a lot more time at the plot. And the autumn months, or the autumn-winter transition, is one of my favourites because it's just really, really nice to slow down and get the fires on and do lots of structural landscaping work on the plot. You can see where you're at a little bit once all the foliage has died back, and it's really nice to spend a lot more time with the birds. I can hear my robin just behind me causing a little fuss over there, but he is a lot more friendlier now that it's getting colder. He's always friendly, but this time of year he won't leave me alone because he's always after the mealworms, bless him. But I think I'm going to spend the next 20 minutes or so harvesting all of these lovely raspberries and chilling out with the robin because, oh, he's just landed there actually because he's been particularly needy at the minute. But it's been an absolute pleasure to show you around my October garden, and I shall see you very, very soon for a foraging video.